Hey girl, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I will be talking about how I finally left my toxic relationship. But before I start, you guys know I had to get some boba for this story time that I'm about to tell you. And this is from Number One Boba Tea, and the flavor is milk tea. I think this is just gonna be a tradition. Every time I do a story time, I'm just gonna be bringing out some boba and talk the talk, you know? Bam. So that's what it looks like. Yes. And after my last story time, which I will be putting down in the description below, a lot of you guys started trying boba and a lot of you guys have been liking it, so cheers. Let me sip on some of this milk tea. Milk tea is definitely one of my top favorites. Anyway, the reason why I am even talking about this is because a lot of women have been DMing me and telling me their personal stories about them being in toxic relationships. And I wanted to do this story because I wanted to empower and hopefully inspire and hopefully give you guys hope that are in toxic relationships at this moment. A couple times when I have been doing the Q&As, I have been talking about how I left a toxic relationship prior to meeting Dario, my fiance. So now I'm telling you my story, and hopefully this will give you guys that push, that inspiration, just to help you guys in your current situation. I know everybody's stories are different. Mine is different from your guys's. You guys are probably in worse situations than I am. But regardless, toxic is toxic. If you're not happy in the situation, then I really do encourage you to leave, because you know your worth. You know that you should be treated better. So I have been with my ex for about 5 years, and we met when I was about 18 years old. We worked in the same job together, and it was kind of like, it wasn't love at first sight, but I mean, when I saw him, I was attracted to him, and apparently vice versa. And around that time, I was going through problems with my parents. So I was currently staying with my auntie and uncle. It's been so long, guys, so just bear with me. But I think I remembered him giving me his number like a while ago. So I remember texting him and asking him if he wanted to hang out. And around that time, I believe it was like around my birthday, so around January, or I think it was Valentine's Day. So we planned on meeting up, and we met up at the mall, the same mall where we both worked out, which is like weird, but hey, I mean, we were young. And I remember when I first saw him, he got me like a bag full of things and like a balloon. So I really think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was Valentine's Day. And then from there, like I said, I was having problems with my parents, and I was staying with my auntie and uncle. And mind you, I was still in high school. So it was my senior year in high school. And around that time, it was just really hard and stressful. I had to do everything myself. I didn't have no car. I didn't have anything. I had to like try to rely on other people for rides. Girl, I was a mess. Around that time, I had to leave my auntie and uncle's house for personal reasons. And I was freaking out because I didn't know where to stay. And that's when he asked his mom if I can stay with him and her in their house. And of course his mom says, yes, you can stay, just as long as you stay in the upstairs bedroom. And he stays in the downstairs bedroom, whatever. So after that, I moved in with them. And I felt that in the relationship, like I said, I mean, it was just a couple months since we were talking, and I ended up moving in with my boyfriend, and not by choice, okay? Not by choice. And I felt that throughout our relationship, that was probably what have happened, was that we just moved so fast with everything, and we got comfortable real fast, like real fast. And I think that was another reason why I was so in love with him, was because I felt like at that time he was like my savior. Like, he helped me stay away from the streets. He helped me with a place to stay. He helped me with a lot. I can give him that. And fast forward to our relationship, we both didn't have really good jobs. I mean, we did have jobs, but it didn't really pay enough for us to have like our own place. So we were just kind of jumping from one person's house to one person's apartment, etc, etc. A lot of that just caused a lot of stress towards us in a relationship. Like, it caused us to fight a lot. it was just crazy. It was a lot, but we always ended up working it out and, you know, just moving on to the next. The first signs of him being toxic was when we started arguing a lot more. Like, we started arguing like a lot. And then that's when he started throwing in a little bit of shade, I guess you could say that. I remembered this one fight that we had, and you know, usually when you get into fights, you would say things that you didn't mean or whatever, but with him, like, he just went ham. Like, he didn't care about my feelings at that point. So I forgot what the fight was about, but we were arguing in front of his family. And I just remembered him looking me dead in the eyes and said,
"You're ugly, you're fat, you have no boobs, nobody will want you."
Legit looked me in my eyes and said that to me. Till this day, as a woman, it's still scarring to me to know that a man that claims and says that he loves you, he sees you every single day. He sees you naked. He sees everything about you. Like, your insides, your outsides, whatever. For a man to say that to you in your face is just one of the most scarring things. Till this day, and I think until I die, I would never forget that. He also said that to me another time, like a totally different time. So, of course, that made my confidence from here all the way down here. And by you saying that to somebody that you claim that you love, that broke me. I just bawled out in front of his family. And what was even more messed up was that he didn't care. Like, he didn't try to say, you know, I'm sorry. So that was like the first major sign of him being disrespectful towards me. And the more that I was being with him, the more I learned that he was a very manipulative person. Every time we would argue, he would always use that reverse psychology shit. There was this one time I remembered where him and we were sharing my car. At that time, he would always drop me off at work and he would use the car to do whatever. And I remembered going through his phone. I think it was like on Facebook or something, or MySpace, one of them two. And I remembered seeing this girl. I caught him talking to this girl. And I remembered contacting her. I think like I was texting her or messaging her, and I told her like, this is his girlfriend, like, what's going on? Not gonna lie, homegirl was cool. She told me that she didn't even know that he had a girlfriend. And the messed up thing about it was that he was using my car to see her. I don't think y'all heard that.
He was using my car to see her.
When I was going to work. And this is how I know homegirl is not lying. I bought him a black Build-A-Bear, which we would always put in the back of my car, just kind of like kicking it like right here or something. And she described my car to the T. So I knew that she wasn't lying. So when I confronted my ex, he legit would tell me, I don't know what you're talking about. He was legit like standing his ground, claiming that he was not like, he did not mess with that girl. He didn't. It was a huge ass mess. So him and I, of course, we got into a huge ass argument. I would have been like, so what is she talking about the teddy bear in the back, la la la. He wouldn't even answer that. He would just try to flip it into something else, and like it was just crazy. It was crazy. Imagine that. Imagine arguing almost every day with somebody who would always try to use reverse psychology on you, knowing that it's his fault, but still he makes it seem like it's yours every single time. That type of shit would make you freaking psychotic. Okay, that would make a person psychotic. So fast forward to us finally getting our own place. He had a really good job, and I ended up finding another job, to the point where we can finally afford an apartment together. He also got himself a car. And I believe around that time my car wasn't really working as good, so we would always share cars as well. And I remember this one time when I picked him up from work, and I was waiting in the car for a bit while he was done with whatever he needed to do, and I checked on the side like of the car, and I've noticed like some like receipts or something. So I just grabbed them and I was looking, and it looked like it was the receipts from like those seductive massages or whatever, like I think like the happy endings type massages. It wasn't just 2 receipts, it wasn't just 3, okay? It looked like he'd been to it a couple times. It's funny because once he had this job, he was making a lot of money, like a lot of money. So there was times where he would go out with his homeboys and I would blow his phone, but he would not answer, not once. Not once. I would blow up his phone. Like I was like legit that psycho girlfriend where I would call your phone 50 times in a row, but yeah, he did not answer not once. But then he would text me like, what do you want? So he would constantly always go out, and every time like I would confront him or whatever, like he would not care to tell me. Like he wouldn't care how I felt. I would always cry, like all this stuff. He definitely put me through a lot. And there was also this one time where him and I got into an argument again, and he said that he needed a breather. So he said he was just gonna go to Walmart and just walk around for a bit, because that was like always our thing. Like we would always go to Walmart just to kind of just window shop, or we end up buying like DVDs, and we would always collect DVDs all the time, or buy games for our PlayStation. So he said that he needed a breather, so he left for a bit, and then he came back and he went into our closet, and I noticed him carrying like a box that was in our closet for a while. And I was just thinking like, okay, like maybe he's just throwing it away, whatever. And then after that he left, and after a while I've noticed that he didn't come back. I think it was like maybe like almost an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I was calling his phone. Of course he wasn't answering, so I ended up getting changed and I went to the Walmart that's down the street from our place. I was going up and down the aisles on Walmart, and then, girl, let me sip my milk tea, hold on. And then I saw his ass walking around Walmart with a Slurpee with another female. With another female. With another female. At Walmart. Doing the same shit that we always do. And pause. So I totally forgot to mention the reason why he took the box out of our closet. It's because when he went into our closet, he put clothes to change into the box. So remember I said that he was in his work clothes before he left? So when I saw him at Walmart, he had a whole ass wardrobe change. Anyways, back to the story. What do you guys think I did next? I went straight to their asses and I said, what the F are you doing? I think I was louder than like the overhead comm of Walmart. Like I was loud AF, okay? And I did not give a damn. So I came up to them and I said, what the F are you doing? And then he just looked at me like he didn't give a damn. And then homegirl was like, no, it's not like that. And I looked at her, I was like, shut the F up. I'm not talking to you. And I looked at him, and then he just started laughing at me. And he was just like,
Sarah, calm down, Sarah.
This is how females get psychotic, okay? Well, anyways, I forgot what happened. I think I kind of blacked out, and one of the Walmart workers kind of told us to all leave. So I dashed out. I called my homegirl on the phone, crying my eyes out. I told her what happened, and mind you, I was like parked like maybe a car away from his car. And when I was talking to my homegirl on the phone, I saw both of them going into his car and dipped. And y'all, look, my crazy ass was still on the phone with my homegirl. I was trying to follow him, and I was telling her like everything, like, yeah, like I just passed this red light, like I'm turning here, he's like 2 cars away from, I was okay, like look. So after that I ended up losing them, and I just ended up going home. I think it was like maybe around 10 something at night, and he has not come home like for a long time. Like it passed like 30 minutes, it passed like an hour. Don't you think if your girl found you with another girl, wouldn't you think that you would tell this bitch to go take a taxi and then, oh yeah, let me go home and talk to my girl, something? But no, he did not come home till around like about 1:30 a.m. I was in bed crying. You know what he did? He came in, locked the door, changed, laid on his side of the bed, and just tried going to sleep. Not said one word to me until I turned around and I told him, I was like, so you're just gonna pretend that nothing happened? And he would tell me stuff like, Sarah, be quiet, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to go to sleep. Like, that type of stuff would literally mentally F you up. F you up. Of course, I loved him. I still stayed with him. He would do things to make me stay with him. And like I said, I was young and dumb. And that shit worked on me. Like, every time, like, he knew that I was pissed off, he would go and buy me things, or he would give me money, or after that whole situation, the next day he bought me a Yorkie puppy type shit. You know what I mean? Like, so I was just like, oh, he does love me because he bought me this and he bought me that. All this BS. Like, he bought my love, and my dumb ass legit just like took it all. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, that's, I forgive you. But anyways, after a while, fast forward to around the time when I finally left his ass. The past like 3 to 5 months before I left him, that's when I started seeing him just not caring even more. Like, just not even caring. Like, I would legit cry almost every day. I was stressed the hell out. I was at my biggest, okay? I was at my biggest. I was so fat. My hair would fall out because I was just stressed. I was stressed as hell. It was a lot. And I think the only thing that kind of just really threw me off the edge was we were responsible for different type of bills that we had. He was responsible, like, for example, he was responsible for our car insurance. And I remember getting pulled over because supposedly my registration or my plates or something like that, they were expired, or I forgot what it was. But basically, my ex didn't pay for my insurance for like 2 months. And I think that it like relapsed or something like that. So from there, I got pulled over, and then the cops told me what happened. It was like regarding my insurance. It wasn't paid for like, I think it was actually 2 to 3 months. So I called my boyfriend at the time and I told him what happened. And I was just like, why didn't you take care of this? You were responsible for this bill and this and that. And he was like, okay. Like, what do you want me to do about it now? Like, that type of stuff. Like, he would legit talk to me like that. He was like, well, what do you want me to do about it now? It's over with. But I think what really, really tipped me over was Valentine's Day 2013. You know, of course it's Valentine's Day. Like, you're excited as a woman. Like, oh my gosh, like, it's Lover's Day. He had to work that day. And, you know, I told him, I was just like, oh yeah, you know, we should just go out and this and that. Because we were that type of couple where we would never go out. Like, we would always stay in the house. And we would just like grab something to eat really quick and come right back and just eat it in bed. Like, that explains me gaining so much freaking weight, because we would never do anything. Like, we would never go out. By me always being so secluded in the house, I wanted to do something, and I told him that. So he was just like, oh yeah, you know, that's fine, la la la. So the whole time that he was at work, I was telling him like, oh yeah, you know, I'm excited, this and that, you know, it's Valentine's Day, let's go out. So by the time he got out of work, he was like, oh, well, what do you want from IHOP? Because I'm gonna go pick it up and then we'll just eat it at home. And I told him, I was just like, why? I was like, I thought that you said that we can go out to eat. I was just like, it doesn't even matter. Even if we just go to IHOP and eat there, I'll be happy. And then a walk in the park, I'll be happy. You know, I just didn't want to be in the house. So he was just like, well, I'm tired from work. He also always got my hopes up. He got my hopes up a lot as well. And I think that's just what really freaking irritated me even more. By the time he got home, we just sat in bed eating IHOP for Valentine's Day. Yet he saw how bothered I was. He didn't care to even ask me. He was just doing his thing. I finally told him, I was just like, well, why couldn't we just, you know, this and that. And of course we got into a full-blown argument again. And then he ended up leaving to his mom's house. I think he was there for like a couple hours. And from there, it gave me time to think by myself. I literally sat there for a long time just thinking, hurts, just everything. Like, you know what? No. I know I deserve better than this. I know I can be happy without him, even though I love him so freaking much. But you know what? This isn't worth it. Me feeling like this isn't worth it. What is worth it is my happiness. Do you really think a woman crying every day in a relationship, having her hair fall out in a relationship, gaining all this weight in a relationship is healthy? No, it's not. So I finally got the courage to start packing up my stuff. Not that day, I think like maybe a couple days after that. I told him I was leaving him. And he was like, okay. And it was funny because that day, I think he was working and I was packing up all of my things. And I put the majority of my things in our living room. And he came home late that day. And I think I went through his jacket like in the middle of him sleeping, and I found 2 movie tickets. And obviously they were already watched. So he went to the movies with like another girl, obviously. And I found that later on. I was like, all right, whatever. So after that, I think like the next day he went to work. I ended up calling my parents and I had them help me take all of my stuff out of our place. When I was staying with my parents, I had such sleepless nights, guys. Like man, I just remembered I couldn't go to sleep at all because of the heartbreak that I was going through. Like, this was a breakup. Like, it was hard for me to do it, but I did it. Like, I finally left him. I finally left this man that treated me like crap. But you know what? Day by day, it got a little bit easier. Of course, breakups are never easy, but you just have to just bite that bullet and you just have to keep on going, because you know that day by day it will get a little bit brighter for you. So I was living the single life, you know, I was losing weight, I was going to the gym, I was eating right, I was talking to friends that I haven't talked to in years, I was hanging out. I started finding myself again. I started becoming happy again. And I was living that single life, you know what I mean? Like, I was talking to dudes, I was, you know, doing my thing. Within like maybe about almost 2 months of being broken up with my ex, that's when I met Dario. It still surprises the hell out of me on how everything worked out, on how everything played out. It's crazy to me. How I finally left my ex after 5 years, and then here come along the most amazing man that I've ever met in my life to swoop me up off my feet. And he was just the knight in shining armor that I've been waiting for. Prior to that, like, I've always thought that my ex was gonna be the one. I always thought I was gonna marry this man. I was gonna have kids with this man, like, just everything. Like, I loved him. And I think it was because, like I said, he supported me through so much, through like the dark times that I had. You can even ask Dario, like, when I first met him and the more that we got to know each other, like, he saw how much of a broken woman I was. Every time like he would say something, I was always having my hands up like this, like I was ready to fight, like, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, I was so used to how my ex was. I was so used to how my ex would always just start fights with me every single day, to the point where I put Dario in that same position. Like, you know, all men are the same, like, what's up, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I portrayed Dario to be. After I was talking to Dario for a bit, guess who randomly hit me up? My ex. Basically sounding so different on the phone. So different on the phone. Like, he sounded a little bit more sincere. He sounded just totally different. He wanted me to meet up with him, so I believe that I met up with him. I went back to our old place. Mind you, he doesn't know how to cook. I've always told him, like, oh yeah, you will look good with, like, you know, V-neck shirts and la la, but he would never wear V-neck shirts for me. He doesn't drink. No alcohol. He none of that stuff. But when I came that night to our apartment, he had a V-neck shirt on. He was cooking some chicken for me, and he had wine for me at our apartment. So I'm like, okay, like, what's going on? And he basically told me, he was like, look, like, I've realized I made a mistake. I realized that I've hurt you. I realized all this stuff. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And he was basically asking me if we can start over again. And mind you, I was already talking to Dario. Like, I already met Dario. I've seen the potential of what a real man is supposed to look like. And from there, I was just like, I'm sorry, I'm not in love with you anymore. I don't love you anymore. Me and my ex, we were just talking, and he was just begging me back, to the point where he was finally on his knees, crying his eyes out. Like, legit crying, begging me back. And you know what? I looked at him, stone cold face. Stone cold face. And he had that ugly ass cry too. And I just looked at him. And you know what he told me? He was like, for once, I finally realized how you felt all those times where you were crying in front of me and I gave you that same exact face. After he said that, that finally made me feel like, wow, you finally realize what the F you had until it's gone. So F you. I didn't tell him that, but you know, he got my vibe. He got my vibe. After that conversation, he would blow up my phone. There were days where I was with Dario, like hanging out with him. He would blow my phone up, calling me and calling me and calling me and calling me. And I would not answer, not once. But my smart ass would take my phone, text him, what do you want? And he would call me again, text me, why aren't you answering your phone? So after he finally got the clue, like, okay, well, obviously she's not gonna be with me. Like, I just really haven't heard from him. Even though I'm telling you guys this story, I only told you guys the gist of the story. I'm not even telling you all of the stuff that he put me through. I legit almost cried every single day in that damn relationship. Until one day, it finally clicked in my head, like, you know what, Sarah, you deserve effing better. So that's why I'm telling you guys, if you're in the same type of toxic relationship, whether that's them mentally abusing you, physically abusing you, cheating on you, it's not worth it. It is not worth it. It took me 5 years too long to leave him. So I'm saying that you just really have to sit there and you just really just have to think, do I deserve this? You do not deserve to cry almost every day. You do not deserve to feel any type of negative energy, any type of negative feelings. You just have to up and leave. I know that, like I said, some of your guys' situations are different because maybe some of you guys don't have any family or some of you guys have kids, but you are a smart person. Figure it out. Figure it out. Whatever it takes for you to finally leave that toxic relationship, figure it out. You just really have to sit here and think, do I really see myself being with this person for another 5 years, for another 10 years, for the rest of my life? And if the answer is no, then do what you gotta do. That's all I gotta say. Especially if you felt like you've done all you can. When you guys do finally leave a toxic relationship, you probably won't find somebody as fast as I did. Till this day, I'm still so surprised on how fast I met the love of my life. Like how fast I met Dario. That was like legit, like maybe almost 2 months after I broke up with my ex. You can probably find the love of your life a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. It doesn't freaking matter, but just know that you'll feel a tiny bit better leaving this mother, okay? Sorry. Go out, have fun, try new things, have one night stands. A lot of you guys that read my Q&As, you guys know that I always say that. Have one night stands, okay? It will help you out. Whatever you need to do to keep yourself happy. You have to start becoming selfish with yourself. You got to think about yourself now. And if you have kids, you got to think about your kids now. There's always going to be something better on the other side. There always is. So don't always think that the person that you're with is the only thing, is the only person for you, because they're not. There's somebody out there waiting to love on you the way that you want, to show you what love is. You just have to leave this toxic situation first so you can start seeing the more positivity in life. If you are currently in a relationship that doesn't make you happy, if you're currently in a toxic relationship, whatever it is, I just really hope that you find that strength to finally just be like, you know what, F it. I'm not happy, I'm leaving. I hope that this video helps you and gives you hope for the future, because like I said, I am living proof. It's possible to find happiness after a toxic relationship. Like it really is. It's possible. All right guys, well this is the end of my story time. I hope that I helped a couple of you guys, even if it's just a tiny bit. I mean, it's better than nothing. The purpose of the story time is just to give you guys hope and to push you guys and just to tell you guys that you deserve better than your current situation. If you are going through a bad situation or a toxic relationship, whatever the case may be, let me know down in the comments if you guys would like to hear more story times from me, because this girl got a whole bunch of stories to tell. Okay, this is the end of my story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, And until next time, bye.